Question 6 was a dividing question. 4,496 divided by 8. The classic way to do this is to do the bus stop method. You draw that shape and then you put the 4, 4, 9, 6 under the bus stop, and the 8, the number you're dividing by, goes at the side. Now to do this we will be using our 8 times table. So it's useful just to write the 8 times table down at the side. So 1 8 is 8, then it goes 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72 and 80. Now if you know your 8 times table, brilliant. Otherwise you use your fingers, and after the 8 you count up 8 on your fingers and you write down the answer. You count up another 8 on your fingers and you write down the answer. There's nobody in this group who can't do that. Okay, we've got the 8 times table down. Let's start the divide. First thing is 8 into 4. How many times does 8 go into 4? Well, 8 doesn't go into 4 because 4 is smaller than 8. So 8 goes into 4 no time. So put a 0 up there. And if you ever put a 0 up here, whatever number was here moves over to here. It sort of carries over. And this is now thought of as a 44. So my next question is 8 into 44. Well, I've got my 8 times table down here, and I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 8s are 40. So 8 goes into 44 5 times, because 5 8s were 40. And from 40 up to 44, there's a gap, or a remainder, of 4. And the remainder goes here. So now I've got to do 8s into 49. Now going down here, the number just under 49 is 48. And that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th number down in the list. So 8 goes into 49 6 times. And 6 8s are 48. And the gap, or the remainder, from 48 to 49 is 1. And now I have 8 into 16. 8 into 16 is twice. There's no remainder, so there's nothing else to do, I can stop. So the answer to that question is 562. Now the key thing was that was done without the 8 times table knowledge of that being essential. You can just write this down by adding on 8 each time and counting on your fingers. But once this is written down, that question becomes much more straightforward. So question 7 was a money question. £2.76 divided by 6. Again, it's a dividing question. To get rid of the decimal point, you could do as 276 pence divided by 6. If there's no decimal point, it does make it easier. So just like before, with the bus stop, the number at the front, the 276 goes there, and the 6 I'm dividing by, that goes at the front. So the question I've now got to do is 6 into 276. So, it'd be useful if I had my 6 times table written down. So, again, if you know your tables, great. Otherwise, write down 6 and then count up 6 times. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. You can just count on like that. Yes, it takes you longer, but then that's the whole point. If you learn them, it doesn't take you so long and it saves time. So I've got my 6 times table there. So 6 into 2 doesn't go because 2 is smaller than 6. I put a naught here. And from what I said earlier, if there's a naught here, this number always gets written up here. So that number now becomes a 27. And I do 6s into 27. So if I come down here, the number just below 27 is this one here, 24. And that's the 4th number in the list. So 6 goes into 27 4 times. And 6 4s were 24. And the gap, or the remainder, from 24 up to 27, 25, 26, 27, is a remainder of 3. So the 3 will go there. And this number is now 36. So the next thing I've got to do is 6s into 36. Well, 36 is in my list. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th number down. So I put my 6 there because there's no remainder, nothing else I've got to do. So that's my answer, 46. And because the 276 was in pence, that's in pence, 46 pence. If you had to write your answer in pounds, there is no pounds and 46 pence. So that would be written down like that. So again, another dividing question. Next question we've got to do, question 8, was the first multiplication question, the first timesing question. Number 8 was £4.50 times by 8. Again, it might be easier to get rid of the decimal point and change that to 450 pence times by 8. Now the way I'm going to show may be a way that's different to your parents did at school, but it's a way that's quite easy and will always work. The big number here, the 450, I'm going to split this 450 up into 400 and 50. And I'm going to put this in a grid. And I'm timesing my 450 by 8. So I have one number here, split up, and my other number here. And I'm timesing these together. And I now do my timesing, but I sort of ignore the noughts to start with. I ask myself first, what is 4 times by 8? Again, it goes back to the timetable. So if you don't know that 4 eighths, then you write down 4 eighths. And that's 8. And you count up 8 on your fingers and you get to 16. And you count up 8 more on your fingers and you get to 24. And you count up 8 more and you get to 32. So 8 fours are 32. But between these two numbers I times together, there are 2 zeros. And I need to put those down here as well. Then I move on to this number and I do 8 50s. Well, I just ignore the naught to start with and I do 8 fives. 8 fives from your times tables or from adding up 8 5 times is 40. But between these two numbers I was timesing together, there's a naught here and I need to write that naught down here as well. So I've got these two numbers here in my sum so far. Now what I need to do is add those two numbers together. The 3,200 and the 400. Make sure you line them up on the right. We're going to add these together. 2 zeros are 0, 2 zeros are 0, 2 and 4 make 6, and that 3 makes 3. So the answer to this question, because I changed it to pence, is 3600 pence. But the original question was in pounds. And if you're changing from pence to pounds, you need to put a decimal point in 2 places from the end. So that will be 36.00 pounds, or just 36 pounds. So that's question 8 finished. These questions will continue in part 3.